Hi, my name is Jolynn Singh. I was interviewed by Keith Andrew. We had an enjoyable visit. It was a blast talking to him.
Whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can sell them out to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities. Never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are, who you're going to be. So prove to them, sell them out to something. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith Andrew, and you're watching the Keith Andrew Network. It's season 12, episode 25. You know what 25 is for? It's WrestleMania 25. You can watch WrestleMania 25 anywhere on Peacock and YouTube. And I mean, there's a couple other places too, but Peacock and YouTube, make sure to like WrestleMania 25, the 25th anniversary. Tonight is Friday Night SmackDown. If you have Channel 5, if you don't have Channel 5, that's okay, because you can watch Friday Night SmackDown on Peacock and Hulu. Also,
cool.
this Saturday, if you're a fan of WWE, it's WWE Backlash. WWE Backlash this Saturday, live from France, only available on Peacock. So Peacock has a lot of great shows. If you're into crime and if you're into War and Order, definitely check out the Peacock channel. Also, the first segment I want to talk to you about is brought to you by Disney. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself, and are you a fan of the X-Men?
Am I a fan of the X-Men?
Yes.
Not really. Sorry. I like Hallmark. I like movies that they fall in love, or I like time travel shows. Ask me anything about time travel or sci-fi. I know all about that.
Oh, we can definitely talk about that in a couple minutes. But this show came back after 30 years. It last aired in 1997. Actually, okay, let me take it back. Not 30 years, it was a 94. It's 30. So if you're going forward, 30, 29, 28, 27. It took 27 years for them to bring back X-Men, the animated series. It is absolutely amazing. It blows the other one away. But I noticed watching the new one and then watching the old one, I have more appreciation for the stories because I now know what's going on. At the time, I was like 5 years old. But this is about you, not me. So the first one I want to talk about is icebreakers. What was life like growing up? And tell our audience a little about yourself.
So when I was growing up, we belonged to a cult. So we couldn't watch television, we couldn't watch movies, no music, anything. I remember asking my mom, we were visiting my cousins, and I asked my mom, um, well, I forget, I need to look at the Zoom so people can see my beautiful face. Uh, um, I remember asking my mom, who was that lady that singer that died? What was her name? And my mom said, her is a him, and his name is Elvis Presley. When I tell people that story, they can't believe that they're like, are you Amish? No, but there are such thing as cults, and if you're part of it, you don't know anything. So that part of my life, I didn't know hardly anything. Star Wars came out, I think I was in fourth grade, and every kid in America went to watch Star Wars. And I begged my parents, I wanted to see it so badly. And they said, no. And I remember being so jealous. And then I grew up and watched it, and I wasn't that impressed. And don't hit me, because I really do like sci-fi now. But it took several years of getting used to sci-fi, so now I do like sci-fi. But yeah, I was so jealous. So that's what my childhood was like. And oh, my parents did take us to theater, though. We got to see a lot of plays, and so I wanted to grow up and be a dancer, or I wanted to be in plays. So I went to college and I got involved with theater, and then I raised a family. I was a nurse, and now my kids have moved away. And then I landed on television briefly. I was on Worst Cooks in America, thanks to my inept abilities to cook. And then a lot of us on the show, we get the acting bug. And so I kept taking classes, and I've been in a few movies since then. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm still a nurse. I just got done today. I got done at 1 an hour ago. So nursing. So it's like I'm gonna be very tired. So if I fall off asleep, it's because I have to be a nurse sometimes.
Well, you threw a lot at me. Well, first, but first off, thank you for your service. It's not easy being a nurse, and
Yeah.
that leads into my next subject. But you meant let me stay focused on this one because this one got my attention. You mentioned being part of a cult, and I'm not saying all cults are good. I'm not saying all cults are bad. But let me rephrase what I'm talking about. There is a cult following for Trump supporters. It's I just had to throw it out there.
True.
but seriously, there's a cult following for Hocus Pocus has a cult following.
Uh-huh.
People with the Blair Witch projects that has a cult following. Um, Russia with the town that went nuclear with the meltdown. I can't think of the
Hmm.
name, but it's amazing. Everything. If you think about it, everything kind of does have a cult following. Now, I'm
Right.
not saying that's a bad thing. It's not like going out and killing people, but it's just one of those
It's like
things.
an obsession. You're
Yeah,
just obsessed. Yeah. I think I was a Whovian for many years. Doctor Who. Have you watched Doctor Who?
I heard of it. I know bits
Okay.
and pieces, like he has the phone booth.
Yeah. And if you tell a Whovian it's bigger on the inside, that it's a Whovian thing. If you don't understand, you're not a Whovian. But his ship looks like a police box, but it's bigger on the inside. There's a swimming pool. There's all these thousands of rooms that we've never seen. But yeah, it's bigger on the inside. So yeah, I would definitely be a cult follower of Doctor Who.
I
So
love Dragon Ball. It's my passion. I watch it religiously. I'm not part of a cult, but I do love
right.
Dragon Ball. But when I think about a cult, there was this actress from Smallville. You might know the story. She played Chloe.
Uh-huh.
I mean, she threw her career away. I mean,
Right.
I had a crush on her. It was her and Kirsten who did Lana. Those were my two favorites. And I don't know. I'm hoping the one who does Chloe bounces back, but
I know.
you can't fix. Well, you appreciate that, so you can't fix stupid by getting them with a 2x4. But I was told by a nurse, you can't fix stupid, but you can sedate it.
Right. I was gonna add that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry I took that away from you.
Oh, no problem.
So the next one I want to ask you is the coronavirus. How has the coronavirus impacted your life, and do you see things at a different point of view?
Yeah, whenever I was off, I just came off of Worst Cooks in America. There's a lag time about a year. You're on the show and then they air it. And it was almost a year later. And then right after, I mean, people were calling me, news stations were interviewing me from being on the TV show. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit and everything stopped. It's like I felt like I could have gone into acting. I would have had an agent a lot sooner. I would have had a lot, my career would have bounced. I was at the what how do you say it? The door had opened since I was on the cooking show, and I had all these opportunities, but then they shut because of COVID. So after COVID, I've tried to get my way back into acting and stuff. But yeah, it's like, really, did it have to happen right then? Because yeah, it was frustrating. That happened. It was also hard on my sons because they were college students and all of a sudden they couldn't go to college. And a lot of college students suffered from depression. They got into they got into trouble, to put it, um, because of depression and other things. So COVID, yeah, it was something else. I've lost friends that had COVID. Oh, My I didn't die from COVID. I had COVID, like we all did. My hair fell out. Like three-fourths of my hair fell out. So I cut it really it used to be really long. So I cut it and it's growing, it's gotten thicker again. But yeah, I lost my hair because of COVID. So I don't know if that's anything great in the world, but hey, that's how COVID affected me.
No, I agree. I had COVID about two times, maybe three. My
Mhm.
brother went on a trip. He came back. He was sick. My dad was sick, and then I was working at Walmart, and for me, I for about a week and a half or so, I
Mhm.
was throwing up, and but when I went to urgent care, it's like, oh, you had the flu and a stomach virus. But then there's a lot of people who are like, well, this is 2020 and they weren't testing. You might have had COVID, you might have not.
And not all the because I did COVID testing. I'm a nurse. That's what I do when I'm not taking care of patients. I work for a couple companies. I gave COVID shots. I did COVID testing. I give all kind of shot. Yeah, some of those I did not say that, but yeah, some of the tests are not always accurate. So
Yeah.
you probably did have it if you felt like you were dying. Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't leave the bed. Every time I stood up, I threw up.
Yeah, I would since I'm a nurse, I would tell myself, you must get out of bed. Go get a drink. For about a month, I would just get out of bed, go to the sink and get a drink, and then go back to bed because I had to nurse myself, "You must get up and get a drink. You don't have to eat, but you gotta have something to drink." So, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. I would say I was chugging water bottles, Gatorade, got Pedialytes.
uh-huh.
I was actually my emergency C became my best friend. My sister's like, "Don't overdo it. You're gonna have kidney stones. If it makes me feel better, I'm gonna do
Right.
it."
You weren't eating anything, so you might as well be drinking, right? Yeah.
That's true. Next two questions I want to ask you. What attracted you to begin your acting career, and what has been some of your greatest achievements?
What attracted I liked doing theater in college, like I said. I don't know why. Um, I think when I went to college, I was real timid and real quiet. Probably because I was in a cult and they taught us to shut up and be quiet and do what you're supposed to do. And so I went to college and I realized hey, I don't have to be quiet. I have a voice. And I think that's what attracted me. Um, I felt like I could be a different person. N- oh dear. Why do people only call you when you're busy? Anyway, um,
It's
so
true,
that
though.
attracted me. So that attracted me. I like being a different person. And then I don't know. When I was on Worst Cooks in America, I don't know. I don't know. It's fun. I like doing fun. That's why I say I'm a nurse, but I still do fun, easy thing. I like to do fun stuff. Go give some shots, go give some tests, whatever. Um, my whole life is to have fun. If it's not causing any problems, my whole goal in life is to have fun. So I like acting. It's fun.
I agree with you 100%. If it doesn't hurt anyone, have fun with it
Right.
because you only live once.
That is so true. I like we were talking about COVID. I lost a friend during COVID and oh gosh, she was the one who taught me. She had lived in Hawaii. Her family, she was a Christian, but her family was um Japanese, so they had I think the Buddhist mentality, and she's the one that taught me about animals like little bugs. You don't have to kill the little bugs. They're not hurting you. And she would take these little bugs outside and put them outside. People would laugh at her and she's a mature educated lady and she's like no the bugs aren't going to hurt you and I've tried to teach other people anyway so now that we're talking about COVID and it doesn't anyway so I think about her she died during COVID and yeah I've tried to live that example so but yeah um
No, you're
how did
right.
we get on that subject from it doesn't hurt any I don't know I have ADD I'm all over the place.
Now I can relate. I also lost a friend during COVID. I don't know if he died from COVID, but I just know he had a lot of stomach issues.
Uh-huh.
Um, he was my favorite taxi driver because I could always rely on him.
Uh-huh.
Also, he didn't speed like a freaking speed demon back that too. It's amazing. You need a license to hunt, license to fish, license to drive a car, but any schmuck can have a kid. And it's kind of like there's no repercussion. And that's just the thing with New York City. There's no repercussions. I'm for mental, and this is we're going to talk about disabilities in a couple of minutes.
Mhm.
We need mental institutions. We need prisons. We need to get people off the street and give them the help that they need. You know, there's been stories about these jackasses subway surfing. If hey, you want to die, you didn't go, but don't take anyone with you.
Right.
But these people are subway surfing. This guy was arrested 14 times, and then he got arrested, and the next day, back on the street.
Hmm.
There's a number one who was arrested 17 times. Um, they let him out on good behavior. He was supposed to report to the judge and his lawyer makes sure to check in. What does he do? He goes and kills someone. How the hell are you going to let these people on the street when you know within 24 hours they're only going to do the same crap again? That's why I would not go to the cities. A real cesspool right now.
Oh gosh, it's horrible. I hate watching the news. I hardly ever watch the news because it's depressing. Yesterday, I was at friend's house and I watched the news. I read their newspaper, and I'm like, "This is good." I don't want to get into politics, but I'm like, "This is going on in my city. Oh my gosh, it's horrible." And it's not. Oh, one person was saying Texas. He was saying, "Oh, he's from England." He was saying America's gone to pot, but it's not just America. My friends in Canada have the same problems. England, it's the whole world is going to pot. It's just
Well, you
terrible.
can you can curse if you want to. It's uncensored.
Okay. Well, shit. Okay.
I want you to laugh. I want you to express yourself. As long as I'm making a good impression on you, that's
uh
all that really matters. But
Right.
it is true. The whole fucking world is going to shit.
It is. It is.
Everyone made jokes about Joe Biden, being slow Joe and disabilities and all that. And I will bring that up in a minute. It took him 4 years to wake up, and it's kind of a little too soon, too late. Now, I made jokes about Trump. He's going to be president. He's going to be wonderful. But there are some things, keyword, wink, wink, some things I agree with him on. And unfortunately, I see him being president. Prices, my dad can't get out of freaking supermarkets under 500
Mhm.
compared to a couple years ago where it's only two, maybe 300.
Mhm.
I bet you anything this summer, the prices of gas will go up. To
Mhm.
make, shit's gonna hit the fan. But anyway, that's me.
It was
Uh,
25. I just got gas this afternoon. It was 25 cents more than it was last week. It's like, is it ever going to stop? I don't know.
Someone else got gas was like $55.
Oh my goodness.
But hopefully things will get better. But let me ask you one more question, then we can go to the other one. How do you feel about in prices inflation, and do you think things will get better?
No. They keep raising, but they never go back down.
And they
Sometimes
give you less.
what?
And they give you less.
And they give you right. Yeah. Have you looked at like if you buy a can of coffee? Last month it was 16 ounces. All of a sudden it's 14 ounces. But instead of 5.99, it's 6.50. But they put less ounces in it. Yeah.
I got like a bag of I almost said a bag of deodorant. Who eats deodorant? I got a bag of Cheetos, and half the bag is filled, and it's like the rest of it's full of air. I was like, what the hell is this? Or one reason I stopped going to Chili's is they raise the prices and they give you less.
Right.
I mean, if you got to jack up the prices, I always give me more if I gotta pay for it.
Right.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
anyway. Like I said, freedom, speech, self-expression. But I'm gonna ask you if I may talk to you about disabilities. And this next part is called breaking the glass ceiling. With everything that you accomplished in your life, do you feel that you have shattered the glass ceiling?
What do you mean by shattered the glass ceiling?
Well, you mentioned you have a disability,
Yeah,
and now you're an actress, and you've been on TV. Do you feel that you have shattered your limitations and say, I got this far, now I can do other things?
no, for example, I did a theater, a live theater before Easter. It was the Easter pageant. And I always wanted to get into this theater and I finally got she finally gave me a role and I got in there and the first day after practice she pulls me over. She's like, "Jolynn." I'm like, "Oh great, I did a horrible job." So she's like, "You were wonderful, but I'm are you I'm kind of concerned because she started saying something about your knees, and it's not my knees, it's actually my feet. I was in a car wreck a few years ago. A semi truck hit me, and yet Social Security thinks I'm fine. Get me started. It's not. But the problem is when they go online and they look at your name. Oh, she's a movie star. She's an actress. There's nothing wrong with her. Never mind that I have to take a stool with me between takes and sit down because I can't stand up for 8 or 12 hours.
Right.
You know, and anyway, this lady that hired me for this theater, she noticed that I was limping, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm fine." She's like, "There's a lot of walking. You're." I was like, "No, I wanted to tell her I've always wanted to do this. I've because I watched theater when I was a kid. I like that. That was my first love before I got into television. It was theater. And I wanted no, don't. I want to say, please don't fire me. I can do it. So I did it. The next day I'm dying and I have to take pain pills and everything. But oh gosh, it's so hard, and I'm frustrated because I tell people when you're looking for a job, I'm disabled. I can't stand up for 8 hours because then they won't hire you. It's just frustrating. It is so freaking frustrating. I
No,
think
let
one
it
time
out. That's what it does.
you had we were going to talk and I said I don't want to talk to you today. I can't do it. That was when Social Security denied me
Yeah.
and they kind of told me, "You're lying. There's nothing wrong with you. You're an actress. I know you went to such and such a movie." Yeah, I was a background person that sat on it was like a football game. They were playing a football game,
Right.
and I sat in the bleachers for 8 hours. They paid me to sit as a background in a bleacher, so I wasn't standing up and walking around for 8 or 12 hours. But that's all they see. So it's I'm frustrated because I've seen other people that I don't
No,
want to get
you're
into
right.
politics. I've seen other people that have gotten help that don't need it.
Yeah.
And
No,
they
you're
deny
right.
me. And I'm like,
But we can definitely talk
I
more
don't want to
about
talk about politics. I'll get all this hate mail. But
uh, hey, freedom of speech, but we can definitely talk about it off the air. But no,
yeah.
you're absolutely right. But they like to give you this illusion like the government's your friend.
Oh no.
Just ask the Native Americans how that worked out for them.
Right.
But
Right.
anyway, we can talk about that another time. The next question I want to ask you is you mentioned you're on a TV show. How did you get on that TV show? And what was the one TV show going back that really influenced you?
the the first TV show that I got on was Worst Cooks in America. They I was looking online for theater jobs and then I found this ad, "Are you the worst cook in America?" And I said, "Oh, I am." So I do disaster relief. I used to when I could walk more. I was a disaster relief volunteer since 9/11. I've been because of 9/11. Um I was watching TV crying, wanting to know how I could help. So I joined several different organizations. Well, anyway, the last several years I've been with the Salvation Army and we go out and feed the homeless. We go out to disasters and feed the masses, but nobody wants me to do the cooking.
Yeah,
So I wash the dishes, I'll, serve the food and stuff like that. But you don't want me to do the cooking because I burn everything. I'll burn the kitchen down. So uh, I wrote that, and then the next day I had filled out the application. The next day I was taking care of a patient, and my phone rang, and it said It's something from New York, And so I walked out of the room and it was Worst Cooks, and I talked to them, and then they talked to some of my friends, and I videotaped. I made Tex Asian one pot duck tongue soup. I, I was like, I have to make something, and I grew up in a well, when I got older, after I got my nursing degree, I moved to Asia, and my husband's from India. I've lived in Japan. I've lived all over Asia, so I made this pot with all this Asian stuff and threw it together. And did you know chickens have tongues? Did you know that?
I did
I
not
went to
know.
the I went to the Asian store, and your thumbnail, they have little tongues. It looks just like your thumbnail. And so I put them in a pan and I cooked it, and it was gross. And anyway, yeah, they put me on the show because of that. So I had my older son interview me. He was like filming while I was cooking it, and then my husband and my younger son were eating it, and they started throwing up because when they found out it was duck tongue and it was gross. And anyway, yeah, I was on the cooking show. So,
Well, they used to sell cow tongue back in the day.
oh, don't you have to peel the?
I have no idea. My mom's like, "This is really good," and then she found out what it was. That's why I'm like, "Oh, you really want to know what a hot dog is?" Like, you know what? I like hot dogs. Don't freaking ruin it for me.
Just eat it. Right, right. If you go to another country, especially in Asia, just eat the food. Don't just eat it. Just don't even ask.
I heard
That
in Jap. Oh, go ahead.
that's the safe thing. Just don't ask what you're eating. Just enjoy it.
They even tell you in the Bahamas and Bermuda. I'm not butcher that word. I butcher a lot of words. In the Bahamas and Jamaica, not Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Bahamas, but something else is a big
Jamaica
Bermuda.
or Puerto Rico, the
No, it's like
Caribbean.
yes, it's also Bermuda.
Okay.
And then they said to my parents, "Don't eat the salad, don't drink the water." My dad had the salad, and then he every 5 minutes he was on the tour bus,
Oh.
and they're like, "Oh, can we stop again?" And I'm like, what did he eat?" "Oh, he had the salad and water." "Oh, that's a big no. You don't have."
In India, they call it deli belly. Ah, you got deli belly, eh? You got deli belly. Yeah, same thing. Oh, that's my secret talent that I've not been able to use anywhere. I can speak any sort of accent that you throw at me. If you tell me to do an accent, I like doing accents. So, yeah, I haven't been called to be on Saturday Night Live or any of those cool shows, but yeah, I like doing accents. So,
Well,
sorry about that.
I do have some great ideas I want to talk to you about off the air.
Okay.
But wrapping up, I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? How do you feel now, and would you recommend it?
Oh yeah, it was cool. I wasn't intimidating. When you first, but talking to you is fine. I've enjoyed it. I have enjoyed our conversation.
I do have a couple questions for you off the air. I'll say thank you for your time.
Thank you for talking to me.
Absolutely. Until we meet again, catch you later. Thank you. Have a good
Bye.
night.